my view is, well, first of all, I do think Barack Obama has always made no secret of the fact that he's an Afghanistan hawk. During the campaign, I mean, however much he denounced the Iraq war, it was to say there was one war that was, quote, a dumb war, and I said so, and one war that was entirely justifiable. That's somewhat my view as well, I'm afraid, or somewhat my view. I don't think we have any alternative, actually, but to be involved. If you think about what the alternative is, and I think even Jefferson would have felt that way, the alternative is really to cede this enormous arc of theocratic militancy stretching from West Pakistan, northwest Pakistan, right through Afghanistan, and then becoming part of a kind of Shia empire, really, right, going through from Iran right through to, the seat of Hezbollah power in Beirut, and that is and we've got two nuclear armed states in that particular kind of arc of fundamentalist power. That is something it would be myopic to ignore, I think. The issue, of course, the delicate, most incredibly difficult issue in the first instance is really how we ensure that the Pakistani state doesn't fail, and therefore how a Pakistani army can itself reclaim sovereignty. And the current struggle, as I see it, over Swat and areas like that, is really a kind of litmus test, actually, how we can do it indirectly. I'm sure Obama doesn't want, I don't think anyone in this room would really want a direct military intervention in Pakistan as well as Afghanistan, but it can't sort of afford really to cede the possibility that Pakistan, rather than Afghanistan, really is sovereign Taliban territory with all that implies for us. So in principle, I do think it's a sort of Hamiltonian, or if you like, Harry Truman kind of moment for us. But actually, how the president sells that to the country is very tough, because I think it's a tough case to make, and it's much easier because it's true to connect 9/11 to Al-Qaeda and to the Taliban and to a commitment in that part of the world, as it was not true in the case of Iraq. But we are left with Iraq nonetheless. And to move to that, and what history can teach us, we have a problem there, as you'll all be aware. We are noticed that the president has said all combat troops will be removed from Iraq by what, the end of 11, is it? Yeah, end of 11. But of course that leaves the dread word advisors. Those of us old enough to remember the 1960s remember what, a multitude of sins can be covered by the term advisor. And the problem in Iraq now, day after day, it's not yet quite resolved itself into a story, has it yet, in the New York Times sense? There have been little stories, is the unraveling of the awakening. What's happening is that, in my view, amateur view again, is that the Shia government, and indeed the Shia militias, are anticipating the end of the checks going out to the sheikhs in western Iraq, and that the reasons why the militias controlled by the Sunni sheikhs went to our side rather than carried on with the insurgency will then disappear, and they are worried about a kind of neo-Ba'ath local militancy reappearing, which is why the Shia militias are becoming preemptively tough, actually. And so the sectarian issue, which we thought had been solved by the surge, seems, again, from my, it's very presumptuous talk to you, but just really from my amateurish reading, to be unraveling in a slightly terrifying way, which might pose the problem of fighting a war on at least two fronts as we get deeper, as we shall, into Afghanistan.